Hello and welcome everyone. Are you excited about artificial intelligence? I am. And this is an ongoing topic, especially in the artist community of visual arts. They keep saying that they are against AI, or I don't know, maybe just the media tries to portray them like they are trying to say that, but I've seen some people actually saying that. And the arguments that they often use are coming from a very professional side. They are always saying that they fear to lose their jobs. I personally don't fear losing my job because I don't make money with music. I'm just doing it for fun, and that's how things should be in all arts. And that's why I like to embrace technology. Also, I think even if you make money with music, you could just embrace the technology as well and then make money with that. You know, if making money is your goal, then just use tools that make money. Why not? That's my statement about the ethical debate. I know it's a bit more complicated than that, but this is more or less my position. This video should not be about that, but it should actually be about having fun with AI. So I have ChatGPT open here, and you probably already know ChatGPT because it was all over the place in the media the last days. What I want to use it for now is making a chord progression. So I have this project here I'm going to show you. And it's not an easy beat to find a chord progression to, because obviously the bass line only consists of one note, which is G sharp. Even though this is an ambitious task, let's try to come up with a way to describe to GPT chat what we want to have here. I'm currently making a beat, and it has a bass line that only consists of the note G sharp. Now I'm searching for a proper chord progression that works even though the melody of the bass line is that simple. Tell me 4 chords and also which notes they contain. Oh, there are different chord progressions. 3 ones already. Okay. So let's try them. The first one is G sharp minor, B major, C sharp minor, D sharp diminished. This chord progression creates a sense of tension and resolution. Tension and resolution sounds nice. So G sharp, B and D sharp. Now next up we have B, D sharp and F sharp. Then we have C sharp, E and G sharp. And we have D sharp, F sharp and A. Okay, that one was quite nice. Let's make this a descending thing. Okay, nice. Should we try the other ones as well? They don't look that exciting. They don't have the diminished chord in it. So I actually don't want to try them because I really like how this ends on a diminished chord. That makes it a little bit more exciting. But let's see if we can tweak this a little bit more. Alright, thank you. I really liked the first progression, especially the diminished chord at the end. But I would like the other ones to have a bit of an uncertain flavor, something jazzy. Okay, let's try that. I don't know why it thinks that it should always make 3 chord progressions now every time, but anyway. So we could already go ahead and just try these. I make a copy of these. So the first suggestion is G sharp, B, D sharp and F, B, D sharp, F sharp and A. Oh, this one's completely different. It starts on D sharp. Okay, F sharp, which is not in here at all. Then we have A and we have C sharp. Okay. Okay, is the last one at least still a diminished chord? Let's see. F sharp, A. No, it is not. the last one was changed to this. Okay, I don't like that at all. Let's see what the other ones have. These are just 7th chords, so it's not very interesting. It's like getting jazz on Wish. This all just ruined the chord progression that we had at the beginning. Okay, unfortunately, these progressions were worse. I don't like progressions that only consist of 7th chords. Also, they did not have the diminished chord in it anymore. Anyway, now I have this chord progression. How could I go on from here? Only give me one chord progression. Okay, let's check if everything is still the same first. B, D sharp, F sharp, C sharp, E and G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, A. Okay, everything is still the same. That's good. Now let's go on. So the next chord is an F sharp minor. Now we have G sharp diminished. Oh, a diminished chord again. That could be a bit too spicy, I think, but maybe not. Let's just see. Maybe we should go up again at this point. Yeah, why not? A B7 actually. Okay, I mean, if it's just one, then it's okay. I do like 7th chords, by the way. I just didn't want ChatGPT to know. Maybe I should flip some of these things around. Now the question that I'm asking myself about this chord progression at this point is if it really fits to just this bass line, or if the bass line should be adjusted to fit better to the chord progression. So let's find out. I mean, for example, here there is no G sharp in the chord, but we could see that as an optional tone. If we were to quantize it to the next note, it would sound like this. Which also makes sense, but then, you know, going back to the original note sounds a bit flat or boring, I don't know. If we stay on this note, however, we just get a tension, a feeling of tension. But I think on this one in particular we could go on a different note in order to show that this is a diminished chord that needs something special. Also because G sharp is very close to A. Maybe we should go up to A then, I don't know. Now let's try F sharp. Now let's go very far away. Okay, that also sounded good. Then we could go down to C sharp at this point. No, we cannot. Now at the end we would have the option to go to B, which would make this a very nice ascending harmony here. Or not harmony, but you know, it is harmonic that things have a certain pattern, but not harmony in the musical sense, because these are the harmonies obviously. Now that's pretty cool, I guess. Thanks, GPT. This chord progression was pretty nice. I had to adjust my bass line though, clashed a bit hard at times. Just minor tweaks though. It's always a good idea to pay attention to how the bass line and chord progression work together, as they can sometimes clash if they are not carefully balanced. I hope your minor tweaks to the bass line help to create a smoother and more cohesive sound. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. Sure, I would like you to analyze the chord progression that you came up with. Oh, I just realized that I'm putting my head above the browser a little bit in my recording. Okay, how could I ask for that? What does this chord progression mean? The chord progression that I suggested, something, 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 is a progression that creates a sense of tension and resolution. It starts with a minor chord, which creates a sense of sadness and melancholy, and then moves through a series of chords that build in intensity and dissonance. The diminished chord, D sharp, diminished, adds a sense of instability and tension, while the major chords B major and A major provide a sense of resolution and stability. The progression ends with the dominant 7th chord B7, which creates a sense of tension that is resolved by resolving to the tonic chord G sharp minor. Overall, this chord progression can create a sense of drama and emotion, and it works well in many different musical genres. It's a common progression in jazz and blues, but it can also be used in pop, rock and other genres. Okay, let's try something experimental. I want this chord progression to sound more experimental. Give me something spicy that doesn't explain itself in the first time you listen to it, but rather something you have to listen to multiple times for it to really sink in. But that turns out even better then. Now that's a very emotional way of describing a chord progression, but yeah, I really want something that has you think like, whoa, what the fuck first, and then, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense as well. Something that feels like a parallel universe of music type of thing, something alternative. Alright, now this is going to be interesting. Okay, so the first one is G sharp, B, D, and F. Then we have... Now it's interesting because it already changed one of the notes only so that it can add another note. So apparently it just tries to change something about the entire thing, but it keeps the diminished ones, which is interesting as well. Next thing we have is 5 notes. That's going to be jazzy. So B, D sharp, F sharp, A and C. A. Fuck. Okay. No, C. Should I put the C here? Maybe not. Let's find out later. C sharp, E, G sharp, B, and D. Now obviously this was probably not meant to put the D and the E next to each other, because they are 9th chords and stuff like that always sound a little bit better when the stuff is further away. So let's actually make sure that this is the case on both of these chords. So the interesting thing is, it did not change a lot about what we already had. Only in one chord it changed one of the notes, the first one. Apart from that, it just added notes. And it looks like it would be an interesting melody that appears up here. So let's see, let's find out what it does. Now that's interesting, because it already accomplished one of the things that I wanted to have, which is a chord progression that doesn't explain itself immediately. I already understand this transition here though, so that's already a good beginning. Okay, that's nice. I think I begin to understand this chord progression. We have this first chord that has a lot of tension. And then we have the second chord, which has a bit less tension and also goes down. So it kind of seems like it is smoothing this thing out. But then we go back up with a lot of these notes to basically almost the same chord as this. But this one feels much more soft. So we have sort of, by going back to the same note, we have sort of a feeling that is a bit ambiguous, because on the one hand it reminds us of what we just experienced on the first chord, but on the other hand we now have something that feels softer in itself. So that gives us an ambiguous feeling that's kinda cool. Now, how can we describe the way it goes on? Now, at this point, not only because the notes are deeper in general, but I think we are going into more of a relaxed state here. And it's funny because this is a diminished chord, so the diminished chord actually sounds relaxed. Here we have sort of something that repeats what was going on here. We had this thing, and here we have, and also, so we have sort of the same thing going on. There is a pattern in this chord progression. It does make sense. It created something that makes sense in a sophisticated way. This one sounds a lot less tension-y than this one though. Maybe it is a bit about the height of these notes though. Nice, nice, I really like that. Now I want to find out how it feels when one of the chord progressions goes into the other. Like we are going from the easy realm into the more sophisticated realm of sound. Does that sound good? Let's find out. I think it sounds pretty cool. I will keep it. Let's see what it says about this chord progression, by the way. This chord progression uses a combination of minor 7th chords with a flattened 5th and dominant 7th chords with a flattened 9th, which creates a sense of dissonance and instability. Also uses diminished 7th chords and flattened 5th, which adds an extra layer of tension. The progression ends with a dominant 7th chord with a flattened 9th. Overall, this chord progression has a complex and experimental sound, and it might take a few listens to fully understand and appreciate. It could work well in a variety of music. Yeah, okay, I don't care if it works well, I just want to make pleasant music. Let's first give it a little bit of feedback. That was a nice chord progression. I loved the repeating pattern of certain notes that kept coming back after it was not expected anymore. That created a nice balance between tension and resolution at the same time. Sort of an ambiguous feeling. Maybe we could build up on that and follow this up by a chord progression that is based on this chord progression, but ends up being absolutely insane. Yeah, this time it just felt like it tried to make something that could be ascending forever. In some way that sounds a bit insane, but it is a too generic approach to insanity in my opinion. It didn't add enough to what we already had with this crazy chord progression in order to really make it worth it in my opinion. So let's not keep that. This seemed a bit generic IMO, but thanks nevertheless. I'm sorry if the chord progression I suggested didn't quite meet your expectations. It can be challenging to come up with chord progressions that are both experimental and original, as there are only so many combinations of chords that can be used. That being said, there are many different ways to create an experimental sound in music, and chord progressions are just one aspect of it. You could try using unconventional chord voicings, adding dissonant intervals or notes to the chords, or using extended chords with added notes beyond the basic triad. You could also try using different chord inversions, which I already did, or changing the rhythms of the chords to create a more irregular or unpredictable feel. Experimenting with different techniques and approaches can help to create a more unique and original sound. Thank you, ChatGPT. That was very helpful. I did not know that yet. I'm not a musician yet. I needed the advice. Yeah, cool. So what is the takeaway from this video? I think the main takeaway should just be that it's kind of fun to use ChatGPT to come up with chords. It's a bit of a fancy way to do that because it's not like you couldn't do that on your own, but it's just fun to have an alternative way to do it, I think. And I like how it surprises me with things that I might have not done right now. Because ChatGPT cannot read my mind and my mood. It sort of has its own mood in some way. So it just imposes its mood with the chord progression. And then I have to adapt to that, which is a bit challenging. And as you know, I like Beatmaker challenges. So I think that's enough for this video. I know a lot of people who make ChatGPT videos about music production make it a little bit bigger, make a full beat about where ChatGPT decides every little thing in the beat, but I don't want to do that because it would mean that I have to cut down on the details, and I already think that it's kind of interesting to just see what it does in the realms of chords for now. Maybe I will do a follow-up video where I also try other perspectives of music production with ChatGPT, but that's enough for now.